This is the Jerry Hicks Show, your home for common sense content 5 nights a week, right here on the Censored Freedom Network. Now here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, everybody, so much for being here. Welcome to tonight's show. We have a lot, and I mean a lot of news to get into tonight, folks. Stick around for our main story tonight. There's a bunch of big news. But our main story is the birth of DOGE tonight, folks. How was DOGE born, and what did Obama have to do with it? We got a hell of a story there, so make sure you stick around for that. But before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop right on into the news. Let's pull up the rack over here. We have a breaking story last night, ladies and gentlemen, and it's still going on today. According to Pennsylvania arrest warrants, this has been filed in Pennsylvania by a whistleblower, and it says the following. President Donald Trump learned today a federal whistleblower and former Pennsylvania State Police employee has come forward with information and filed a criminal complaint allegedly linking Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro with the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. The allegations are as follows. In the weeks leading up to the Trump rally, President Joseph R. Biden made frequent visits to defendant Josh Shapiro to discuss the obstacle faced by the Democratic Party. Josh Shapiro organized, schemed, and conspired with other officials to carry out the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump. Governor Shapiro facilitated, planned, and coordinated the attack to climb the political ladder. On July 13th, 2024, this affidavit contacted the the person that's filing this, contacted the Secret Service to provide a tip about the assassination, which was blocked by the Biden administration. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is real, which the allegations are, but if this turns out to be real, this is huge. This is gargantuan, ladies and gentlemen. A sitting governor being behind the attempted assassination of the President of the United States of America. So stay tuned for more details on that story as they come out. I had a interesting time today, ladies and gentlemen. I got to hang out in my first ever Spaces over on X. We had a blast over there, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never had a chance to listen to a Spaces on X, I absolutely beg you, please go do that. That was so much fun. Huge shout out to Gulf of America Spaces. That was an absolute blast. And huge shout out to all of our fans over on X. We're growing again, leaps and bounds over on X. We finally found a platform that doesn't squash our stuff down. It's really nice to actually have people sharing it out and it not being, what's the word I'm looking for? Censored. Yeah, like over on Shit Talk. But ladies and gentlemen, that again is only the first story tonight. Great stories today. I was over on Google Maps. Somebody posted on X, and I just had to go check it out. And here's what I found, folks. That's right. That says Gulf of America. We are on Google Maps, just so you guys see. I'm not, like, making something up here. This is legit Google Maps. You can go check it yourself. Somebody told me earlier today it wasn't showing for them. Maybe it was on their phone. Perhaps it's only showing on desktop right now. I'm not sure. But I can show you right here that it is absolutely the Gulf of America, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have from our new press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. I love this woman. She is so adorable and does not play around. But here is the MAGA Minute.
Welcome to the MAGA Minute. It's been a huge week here at the White House, and let's go over the wins President Trump delivered on behalf of you, the American people. On immigration, illegal migrant encounters between the ports of entry are down nearly 87%. On the economy, President Trump laid out a plan to establish a sovereign wealth fund to better invest the more than $5 trillion in assets held by the United States. He also proposed tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico and China, and those tariffs were swiftly paused after our allies agreed to step up and address these issues. We are streamlining USAID into the State Department. President Trump signed a historic executive order to ban men in women's sport. Lastly, President Trump is already making our military strong again. Army recruitment in the month of December, with the anticipation of President Trump's return to the Oval Office, hit a 15-year high. We'll see you for next week's MAGA Minute.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Caroline Leavitt. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Trump is doing a ton for this country. I tell you, there's never a slow news day as long as Trump is in office. There is always something going on, and I think that's absolutely awesome. Next story up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Pete Hegseth has officially signed the documentation to rename Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. At the end of Biden's run there, they decided to switch the name from Fort Bragg over to Fort Liberty. Well, it's now back to its original name of Fort Bragg. Next up, folks, I got something I really want to talk about. The halftime show last night at the Super Bowl. So, folks, I know a lot of people did not like that. I think it's awesome that it is being rejected for what they were attempting. I heard it said today, and I do agree, that it did not, what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't cover what America is made of. It did not properly represent America as it should. Now, with that said, that I didn't say that as a matter of fact, to be clear. I'm only telling you something I heard earlier. I agree with it. I do. But let's remember, Snoop Dogg did the halftime show last year, right? And then this year they had Kendrick Lamar. Now, I agree, I couldn't understand 3/4 of what was being said. And I know most people couldn't. But I've got a different take than most people have on this. I personally think it was a win. I know you haven't heard that today. Hear me out. Folks, did you see any blatantly satanic imagery in that? No, you didn't. I didn't either. Now, there may have been something hidden deep within, certain messages and whatnot that they've been a lot more coy about, but that's not like them. And by them, I mean the deep state and entertainment industry. Normally, it's blatantly in your face, some type of ritual, right? Right there on the television. However, this time, I didn't see that. I seen a performance that actually was based on, like, PlayStation, right? Stuff like that. Personally, I didn't see a problem with it. I didn't understand any of the words he said, to be clear, like I said, but I didn't see a problem with the fact that there wasn't blatant satanic imagery. Another thing about this, Kendrick Lamar has been calling out the bad guys and the pedos, right? So at the very least, we had no satanic imagery, and a person performing that is actually calling out the bad guys. Folks, I'm going to call that a win. It may not have been the best show in the world, I'll agree. Wasn't the best show in the world. Wasn't the most entertaining show in the world, but this is the Super Bowl we're talking about. I'm not big into sport ball anyway, and here in a minute, you may not be either, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, take away from that, I don't think it's getting the proper attention that it should. Yeah, it was bad for what it was, but I think we've gotten so psyoped into looking for problems and bad stuff everywhere, every time they do anything, that we just don't like it, period. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, I didn't think it was that bad a thing. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably one of the better ones we've seen in a long time, considering it didn't have the satanic garbage in it. Now let's talk about the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. This is, well, some of you guys are going to say this is a conspiracy theory. I thought so too. But it's not. You heard that right. I was brought kicking and screaming to this one. The NFL is rigged, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bold statement, isn't it? What if I told you I can prove it? I went and did some research, and I was absolutely flabbergasted to find something out. Did you know the last level of football that is considered sports is college football? Yep. College football is the last level that is really considered actual sports. The NFL is not considered sports. Well, what is it, Jerry? Look this up. Prove me wrong. Because my mouth dropped when I heard this. I was sure that this was misinformation, and it was not. Yes, the NFL is classified as an entertainment business. Not a sport business. They're entertainment, which allows it to operate under different regulations compared to traditional sports leagues. The classification has implications for how the league manages game outcomes and betting activities. Let me put that in a little more layman speak. They can rig any game they want, and it's not against the rules or the law. There you go. Let that sink in. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is no different than the WWE or even the fake mocking stream media, ladies and gentlemen. They have no legal obligation to be fair at all. Just like the news has no legal obligation to tell you the truth at all. They don't have to be fair. Yes, the NFL, folks, is rigged all to hell and can be legally rigged. None of the games we've been watching are real. They're all set up, predetermined outcomes, the whole 9 yards. We've had players tell us this, right? We know this for a fact. Big players, too. And if you think I'm wrong, please, if you think I'm spreading misinformation, if you think it's a conspiracy, do your research. Look it up yourself. Prove me wrong. I'm not big into sport ball anyway. But ladies and gentlemen, I definitely am not going to be into it now. Now that I know that they don't have to be real. They're not a real sport organization. The NFL is an entertainment business and is registered and classified as such. So next time you go to MGM or any of these betting places, remember, you're not betting on the outcome of legit athletes and a chance game. You're betting on where the script is going to take the characters next, because that's all it is. It's a whole bunch of scripts, as there's, 50 some odd teams? 20 some odd weeks? Something like that? Maybe not, maybe less. Yeah, they're athletic. So are the WWE wrestlers. But that doesn't mean that what you're watching is real. And there's a good rule of thumb, ladies and gentlemen. If you see it on TV, if it was produced for television, it's not real. Full stop. You can start with that assumption until proven otherwise, because I've very rarely been proven otherwise. I've had the honor or pleasure of working with some of these Hollywood type, some of the directors and videographers and whatnot. I know, seen firsthand how rigged it all is. Only one show have I ever worked with that did not rig anything to the best of my knowledge, at least not while I was working with them, and that was How To with John Smith. Check it out over on HBO Max. But folks, if you see anything on TV, it was produced, it was rigged, it was scripted, it was made up, it is fake. It is 100% fake. Again, I was brought kicking and screaming to this one. I thought, no, surely the last bastion, right? The sports isn't also being rigged. No way. At least that's the last thing that we can honestly say is not rigged games. Wrong. It makes me wonder what other sports aren't really sports anymore, right? I didn't know this. I looked it up today, ladies and gentlemen. After this blowback on the halftime show, I heard somebody talking about how fake the NFL was, and I went, no. And somebody posted over there that it's just an entertainment business. I said, no way. So I went to Google. It's just an entertainment business, ladies and gentlemen. And I can't find anything to suggest otherwise. If you can, please let me know. I will correct this story in a heartbeat if I have to. Speaking of corrected stories, the mocking stream media has a new story that they're parroting out. Apparently they've learned a new buzzword, ladies and gentlemen, and you know how they are when they learn new buzzwords. The new buzzword for the Democratic Party is constitutional crisis. We're in a constitutional crisis because a judge said that the president has to do something and the president's ignoring him. Number one, judges don't run this country. Number two, all they did was shop around till they get a judge to do what they wanted them to do. However, this judge stepped in a bigger pile of doo-doo than they've realized. Do you know why the U.S. Marshals haven't stopped anything? Do you know why the feds haven't stepped in to stop DOGE? Do you know why the only thing the Democrats can do is just scream and whine and cry like little wackadoos? It's because everything Donald Trump is doing is 100% legit, 100% legal, and it was started by Obama. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the birth of DOGE. The birth of DOGE. Here's a story that you're not going to believe. This is coming to us from the Gateway Pundit assistant editor. Let's go back in time to 2014. Obamacare was being shoved down the throats of the American people. And a lot of us, myself included, wanted nothing to do with Obamacare and seeing how bad it was. But check this out. When passing Obamacare, the Democrats lied about whether you could keep your old insurance. They lied about the cost, the quality of coverage, whether it would lead to rationing of care. They lied about whether it would lead to higher costs, whether it would cover illegal immigrants, whether it would cover transgender surgeries, whether it would cover abortions, which it shouldn't cover transgender surgeries, in my opinion. They lied about how Obamacare could affect the economy. They lied that it created jobs. They lied all the way around. As part of the law, some of the savings used to create a form of national health care, the sales and marketing of the system was put online so that instead of hiring salesmen and spending money on marketing, everything would be handled through an agile and robust website. Part of the alleged massive savings of the program was going to come from digitizing some of the back-end services like sales and marketing by putting them on the site. The only problem was, like most left-wing fantasies, reality got in the way. The Obamacare site was an absolute disaster. I know I personally tried to use it. It was horrible. They originally said it cost $200 million to make. In the end, it would cost over $840 million. And it wouldn't even work in the Safari browser. It regularly crashed. When then President Barack Obama tried to symbolically sign up for the system, it crashed and could not verify his identity. So clearly it had a lot of issues on the back end. Reminds me when Bill Gates first brought out Plug and Play. He plugged it in and the whole system just shut straight down. It became plug and pray after that. But back to the story. The Obamacare website contract had been given to a close personal friend of Michelle Obama, her college classmate at Princeton, Tony Towns Whitney. Towns Whitney was a vice president at government contractor CGI Federal. The firm was not up to the challenge, though. Since then, Towns Whitney has led defense contractor science applications internationally. In 2014, when the government was trying to fix the broken Obamacare website that her firm had made, the new contractors they brought in were unable to do so. The contractors were caught doing nothing, sitting at computers, and simply hitting refresh. They might as well brought in a pack of monkeys and just set them at the computer and let them just tap friggin' buttons whatever they wanted, right? That's about the equivalent of what happened here. And that's not an exaggeration. The contractors were literally doing nothing, sitting at computers and hitting refresh. Even the New York Times, of all people, was forced to admit the disastrous rollout of the website was a serious problem. As a solution to the problem, instead of admitting that the vendor with personal friendships with Obama had created a billion-dollar website that didn't work, the solution was to create the United States Digital Service. The USDS was given the authority to fix the Obamacare website, healthcare.gov. Excuse me, sorry about that. The USDS was formally created on August 11th, 2014. And its first head was a former Google engineer, Mikey Dickerson. Dickerson is now a professor of computer science at Sonoma College. Dickerson was succeeded by Matt Cutts, another engineering veteran from Google. It don't sound like they wanted this to do anything anyway. Sounds like this was created to be nothing more than another agency that funnels money out. But that would all change shortly, folks. Again, Dickerson was succeeded by Matt Cutts. Cutts was replaced by Mina Sayanin, I'm assuming that's how they say the name, 2017. Donald Trump then tried to repeal Obamacare, but lost by one vote when Rhino Senator John McCain, the traitor that he is, voted against it. Reportedly just out of spite for Trump, even though lying McCain had campaigned on voting to repeal the law. Even though Obamacare was not repealed, and even though the healthcare.gov website was now functional since the Google engineers were brought in to bail out Michelle Obama's friend, the United States Digital Service, or USDS, continued with funding, staffing, and authority as a technology unit of the Executive Office of the President. Importantly, the service was given the authority to investigate and operate the tech backends of all federal departments and agencies. I'm going to repeat that because this is very vital to our story. Importantly, the service was given the authority by Obama to investigate and operate the technological backends of all federal departments and agencies. All of them. Every last one of them. Including USAID, folks. But I digress. President Trump tasks USDS, now known as DOGE, with a software modernization initiative to update software, network, and IT infrastructure across federal government. This gives it access to the entire government and makes refusing their requests a violation of a presidential order. So this judge that decided that he was going to violate this office that was created under Obama, nonetheless, has really stepped in it because he is in violation of a presidential order, and it wasn't Trump's presidential order. The USDS website claims it was previously, quote, solving big problems, end quote, but its list of projects make it seem like it was barely poking around the margins of a massive $6 trillion federal bureaucracy with 2.2 million employees. The USDS proudly showcased on its website that it was working on, quote, creating C-19 vaccine finder tools, conducting research on how to improve Social Security Administration's website, helping create a plain language way for veterans to update their discharge status, simplifying veteran services on VA.gov, none of which actually got done, to be clear. So when Elon Musk came in storming to Washington with Trump's authority and blessing, seeking to trim $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse from the budget, when Musk wants to look into Treasury financial systems that never turn down a financial request, or Trump wants to audit the Pentagon, the ornamental services left over as a holdover from Obama's wife fixing her mistakes, they've got every right to do it. The structure was set up for Trump to create DOGE, actually just renaming the USDS, under existing authority and existing governmental entity with existing funding. Normally, and here's what's driving the Democrats nuts, this is why nobody's saying anything about this, yet it's allowed to be. Normally, a new department would not only need to be authorized by Congress for its legal authority, but its funding would also have to be separately secured in the annual appropriations process. And I know a lot of you are wondering, where are they getting the funding to even start doing this? Because it was already there. The authority was already there. It was all given by Obama a long time ago. Trump did not need Congress to ask whenever Trumpers like Mitch McConnell might stall or delay his agenda. Trump was empowered to act because Obama had set up this service with dedicated funding in order to fix the mess that he made by giving a vital government contract to his wife's college classmate. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Obama birthed DOGE. Thanks to trying to cover up a huge screw-up, they created what has now become the DOGE office. Give it funding and everything. In President Trump's executive order authorizing DOGE, Trump reorganized and renamed the United States Digital Service as the United States DOGE Service. The DOGE teams had the authority to work in the information technology back end of every single governmental agency. Every one of them. They already had the authority. Trump did not give any more authority to Elon than was already granted to the USDS, now known as DOGE, by President Obama, trying to cover his own butt. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the birth of DOGE. This is why the left can't stop Elon. This is why no judge can jump in and say this can't happen, because it's already set up, funded, ready to go. They didn't create a new position. They did not create a new agency. They didn't even get new funding. Everything they did was already well established and in place over a decade ago. It's just being renamed and used now against the interests of those who created it to begin with. In my opinion, that's huge. But this, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the most important stories that I know of this week, at least. Minus maybe the government or the Governor Shapiro story, right? But this is why they have no ability to do anything. This is why that judge's order is in violation of the law, and that judge needs to be removed from the bench. And yes, they can be removed from the bench. The wording is while in times of good behavior. So they can absolutely be impeached from the bench. It may take an act of Congress to do so, and I don't think that's going to be hard to get. But it definitely can be done. Anybody who's mad that they're going through and auditing our entire government are either on the take or too ignorant to know they're being used as a useful idiot. And I don't mean that negatively as just being mean towards somebody. I mean they're literally being used as a useful idiot. They're towing a party line that is absolutely detrimental to this country. It's a, what's the word they use for? A danger to democracy. It's a danger to democracy. It is. It's a constitutional crisis. It is. The constitutional crisis was created by somebody trying to step in and stop DOGE from doing what they're doing to begin with, ladies and gentlemen, if there is one at all, which there is not. But I believe that's all we have for tonight, folks. I hope everybody has enjoyed that. I know that I did not know how DOGE was born, and when I found this story, I was more than amazed. Again, shout out to the Gateway Pundit assistant editor. Now, I tried to find out which assistant editor. They did not give a name specifically. It merely just said literally assistant editor. So shout out to them. I appreciate that information, ladies and gentlemen. If I've said anything you don't agree with tonight, prove me wrong. Don't take my word for anything. Always, always, always do your own research. With that said, my name is Jerry Hicks. This has been the Jerry Hicks Show, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Censored Freedom we did last night over on X. Go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. That's an amazing, amazing show. We do it every Sunday, myself and CD Spivey. Then we've got the Jerry Hicks Show 5 nights a week. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody.